Ladies and gentlemen, there is an eminent fallout within the Wamunyoro group. And when I'm saying within Wamunyoro group, I mean that Wamunyoro group include Fredo Matiang'I, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and Rigathi, also Martha Karua. So that group is actually what we refer as Wamunyoro group, because currently we don't have an official name for that coalition. And the eminent fallout within that group is going to come because of presidency, because of that position which encompasses the president and his deputy. Because as you know, that group actually is going to look for a candidate who is going to be the president, and also it will look for a candidate who is going to be the deputy president. And because those two positions have attracted many of that members of that group, that is why we are saying that there is a likely fallout within that group, even if Kenyans expected that that group should continue being together and they should have one person who is going to go for presidency and one another person who is going to be the deputy president. But because many people are eyeing those positions or positions from that group, that is actually what is going to cause an eminent fallout. So in this video, we are going to analyze why that position is going to be the major cause of the fallout. But before we dive in and try to dissect all that, I request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, share the video to your friends. And if your friends are lovers of politics, please request them for us to subscribe to this YouTube channel. At the same time, whenever you subscribe, remember to smash the bell button, because that is the only way you give YouTube permission so that you can be notified whenever we upload any political content into YouTube. And for those ones who have actually subscribed to this YouTube channel, I say thank you. May God bless you all abundantly, because you are behind the inspiration, and you always make us to continue coming up with this kind of political analysis. Now, let us dive back to the conversation and why I believe that position of presidency is going to cause a lot of war and actually break that Wamunyoro group into pieces. Let us look at the big four individuals in that group. And when I say the big four individuals, I mean Rigathi, Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Fred Matiang'I. Those four individuals actually are eyeing to take up those two positions, and more so, the position of the presidency candidacy. Who is going to be the candidate who will go to be the president? Who is going to fight head-on William Samoei Arap Ruto? And because among those four candidates, everybody is looking at that position. And that is why we are going to have disagreement within that group. And eventually, it will split the group probably into two groups. Now, let us try to look deeper about the cause. Let us look at Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, for sure, is a politician who has always served his ambition. Like, he has served his ambition around 3 times to help Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to be the president of this nation. But it never happened. And therefore, at this moment, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka feels that this is his right time to be given what we call his due by having other people or other politicians supporting him so that he can run for presidency of this nation. But he has several weaknesses, and the other 3 politicians are seeing those weaknesses, because if he becomes the candidate who will actually go for the candidacy of becoming the president of this republic, then there is a likelihood that he may not be attractive enough to many Kenyans, and that can actually give a leeway to William Samoei Arap Ruto taking up the presidency of this nation again for 2nd term. And because of that, I feel that that group of Wamunyoro is not ready to pick Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And because of that, there is likelihood that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is going to move out of that group, and probably he can be bought by President William Samoei Arap Ruto. And once that happens, then Ruto will actually take over for presidency, let come 2027, for his 2nd term. And because Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka has always stepped aside for other people, this time is not going to agree to that. Remember, there is a time when Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka said that I am going to pass between Kibaki and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And that's what happened at that time. And he became the vice president of this nation. So there is a very high likelihood that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will actually split the Wamunyoro group. Let us also look at Rigathi. If Rigathi will be picked to go for candidacy of becoming the president of this nation from that group, there is also a very high likelihood that it may bring the game 40 against 1. And that will give William Samoei Arap Ruto a leeway to become again the president of this republic, let come 2027, because Kenyans may feel that presidency has been in Mount Kenya long enough. So the candidacy of Rigathi will give a leeway for William Samoei Ruto to come back to be the president of this republic. Let's come 2027. And because of that, many candidates may actually opt to go back to William Samoei Arap Ruto and give him support, because they know Kenyans may feel that we cannot be read with another president from Mount Kenya, because in Mount Kenya we had the father of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, that is Jomo Kenyatta. We had Kibaki. We have been having Uhuru. Those are three presidency going back to the mountain. So Wamunyoro coming in may make to be the fourth person to lead this nation from similar region. And that may give William Samoei Ruto a leeway to win 2027 presidency. So with that in place, William Samoei Ruto will win. And that also make other presidential candidate to spread from that group. Let us also talk about Martha Karua actually being picked to lead that group of Wamunyoro. Martha Karua is a person who actually can run for presidency. He is fit for that. Remember, Martha Karua is the iron ready, a person who champions the rights of the people, a person who is a defendant of the Constitution. So Martha Karua is quite fit to run for presidency of this nation. And actually he can lead that group. But there is one thing that will affect Martha Karua. Those who are within the Wamunyoro group, they don't expect any person who is coming from Mount Kenya to be the candidate for presidency. And if Martha Karua will be picked, then there is a very high likelihood that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will bolt out, and even Matiang'I will fall out of that group. So the pick of Martha Karua will actually split that group at the end. Let us also look at Fred Okengo Matiang'I. Fred Okengo Matiang'I is quite attractive to the Kenyans. And within that group of Wamunyoro, the Kenyans are saying that the only person who can unseat President William Samoei Arap Ruto from power is Fred Okengo Matiang'I. And the Kenyans from all walks of life, they are actually ready to vote for Matiang'I so that they can remove President William Samoei Arap Ruto from power through the ballot late come 2027. But the biggest block is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Can Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka actually accept to forego the position of becoming the candidate for presidency of this nation within the Wamunyoro group? Because as I have explained, the most person who is perceived to have a lot of experience is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And he has always shelved his ambition. And this time, he might not really accept to sell his ambition again. So that is the person who will make and who will actually prevent Matiang'I candidacy for presidency to be a reality. And if Matiang'I will be picked, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will bolt out because he will say, I am the most experienced. I am the person who has been in politics for long enough. Why am I not picked? Why is it that it is always me who will always shelve my political ambition for others? And because of that disagreement, which is likely to be because of Fred candidacy to lead the Wamunyoro group, that may cost that group a lot. Because as you know, politics, there are only two things which are constant. That means betrayal and also interest. So if Kalonzo cannot actually achieve his interest within the Wamunyoro group, he might look for his interest somewhere else, since Fred Matiang'I has blocked him from actually achieving his interest within the Wamunyoro group. My fellow listeners, do you see that scenario, that there is a likely fallout within the Wamunyoro group as we go ahead? And at the same time, within Wamunyoro group, you may get that they are people who are put there strategically by the government so that it can spread that group as we go forward. Because that's what I foresee, which might actually happen. What is your thinking about this issue? Please drop your comment in the comment section below.